Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My channel is Your Ascension Journey, and my name is Cherie, and we are going to see what message Spirit has for us. I did do a bit of channeling, intuitive information coming through, so I just wrote some of it down. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a spread, but I'm also going to use some of my notes that I was given to go along with it to fill in any gaps. All right, so the first thing Spirit's bringing up that there's a lot of you out there in the collective that are feeling unsafe, and you have some anxiety being triggered up, even to the point where you're feeling shaky. So that adrenaline kind of anxiety where you're feeling scared, but you're also at the same time feeling so tired and exhausted and having a hard time functioning, and it's even at a point where it's debilitating at times. So you're fine when you're not thinking about making any major changes or decisions, but as soon as you start thinking about making these changes or decisions to better your life, you go into this fear of anxiety and all of a sudden feeling that exhaustion and feeling debilitated and basically just frozen in fear. So that's basically the topic of what the reading is going to be about. So we'll just see what else we have here. Now these have already been pre-shuffled. So I'm just going to draw them out for us. Okay, so to go along with the message that I already given about feeling unsafe and anxiety and just basically blocked in fear anytime you're trying to make a decision to move forward, the basis of what you're going through is negative cellular memory that you're still carrying around from traumas that you've gone through in the past. Usually they start off in childhood, but you can also develop these within the womb. Because whatever your mother's going through or whatever experiences are going on around her, you're also picking up on this energy. So then it starts building fearful DNA before you're even born. So it makes sense that when you go through certain experiences in your life over and over and over again, it starts to solidify those fear programs within your DNA. So then we get to a point where we're so afraid to make a decision because it's triggering up all the bad experiences that we put ourselves through, because we think we're making the right choice in any given moment, but then it turns out we end up going through another traumatic experience. So after doing that so many times, we just get to a point where we don't want to even make decisions anymore, and we get comfortable being miserable with very little in our life because we're too afraid to take another step, because we've had so many repeats of what looked like to us making the wrong choices. Now, the way our healing works is all this programmed DNA, which we now call negative cellular memory energies, because every experience that you have gets imbued into your DNA, into your cellular memory. And so what Spirit needs us to do for our healing is to look at what these things are, because just ignoring them or trying to live through it, we're not really changing it. So in order to heal this, we need to actually look at it. But at the end of the day, we need to heal all these things and unify them within ourselves, balance them, neutralize them, so that we can come into our sacred union, which is our divine feminine and sacred masculine union. So the divine feminine is the body, and the sacred masculine is the higher mind. So the lower mind would be the solar plexus chakra, which is the part of us that remembers all these experiences that we had in the past, uses those experiences to try to guide us into the future and try to protect us from being killed or dying. It's just that part of us that is there to keep us alive. But unfortunately, because of all this programming within the body and the DNA, this part of us can only use past information to help us go forward. But that's limiting, because it's still using fear programming, and so all we're doing is repeating these things over and over again. So what we need to do is allow these energies to be accessed by the divine, or your quantum field of your energy field, or your higher self, whichever you want to use, whichever term, so that these energies can be transmuted and neutralized within the body. And we do that by bringing back together the union of the sacred masculine and the divine feminine. That's kind of like an outcome, but this is just letting us know why we need to do this healing of these fears so we can be reunited again. Because when the body's in fear, it shuts down and it blocks out higher information from your sacred masculine mind, which is the higher mind. So we need to teach the feminine and her body that it's okay to relax now, to allow these energies to be accessed, these memories to be accessed, so that they can be neutralized by the higher mind using truth and love. So we're starting off here just saying that at the end of the day, we want to integrate both of the masculine with the mind, with the lower mind of the body, so that the body can heal and raise up and ascend and be unioned with that sacred masculine in 7D, which is also 12D. So don't worry about if you don't understand what that means at this point. So the challenge right now is crossing you, is the fear of not getting victory and success. I know this to be the challenge card here because I could see what the rest of the cards are. Because sometimes this could mean you're coming into victory and success. And of course, when there's a fear of not having this, it usually means you're going to end up with the result of it after all is said and done, when we've done our healing. So we are right now talking about the experiences that you're going through right now, having a difficult time making decisions that are life-changing because you're trapped in that fear. Your fear is you have options and opportunities presenting themselves, but you're having a hard time making a decision on whether you should choose them or not because of so many times you've gone through experiences where you thought you were making the right decision and it ended up just being another same old hurtful, scary experience. The reason we need to go through this and heal this is because we need to bring this part of us, the body, the feminine, out of fear and into higher knowing, higher awareness, higher understanding, because that's where the masculine mind is, the crown chakra. It understands that there's nothing to fear at this point because it can see the present and the future where everything's fine, but the feminine quality is still in that fear because all she has to go off of is past experiences, because her consciousness isn't raised enough for her to be in that higher knowing just yet. But in order to get there, to raise the frequency of the body, of the feminine, we need to let go of the density and the fear energy. But when the feminine is scared, the body is scared, it tenses and tightens up, blocking higher consciousness from coming in and being of a support. So basically, we've been going through life in the lower vibrations, just making decisions because we didn't have anything other to go off of except for our past experiences. So that's why it's so important to raise our frequency so we can come back into that higher knowing, higher awareness, understanding on what steps to take. But when we're in the middle of a fearful experience, when we're shut down and blocked and restricted and the body's tense and tight, that information can't come in. So what this is saying here too is trapped in fear. The devilish kind of images is just temptation. This is all about devil energy, but devil energy is basically our fears. Devil energy is fear energy. So it's just saying that there are people out there watching this who are trapped in fear because they don't have that higher awareness to see what steps to take, because we're so restricted and shut down in that fear energy, which is pulling you down out of seeing the truth of things. So this card here represents the past. It was in a recent past, but this is generally your past up to this point. Suffering in silence. So again, this is just reiterating, saying how many awful experiences you've had to go through and have gone through, and the decisions you've made that actually put you into those situations. So now you're losing trust in yourself. So you're at a point where you're just so tired of suffering, but this suffering that you've already gone through is preventing you and blocking you from making decisions to move forward, because now you're just at a point where you're so afraid to make a decision because you're afraid to make the wrong one. A future card is more fear of conflict and defeat, fear of making a decision and a choice that's life-altering, hoping it'll turn out in the best way possible, obviously. And you know, it's not even that we're afraid to take a chance or this leap of faith. We're just afraid of it not turning out the way we intended to, because we've had so many experiences that just did not work out for us. Again, it triumph, but it's upside down. So this means fear of triumph, so fear of victory and success not happening. because we are still trapped in that disruptive energy, that trapped in fear. That's where you see this rocks around this person, and they're all shut down and they're closed up because they're so afraid to make a decision because of how many bad experiences that were happening in the past. So through this, Spirit is saying, in order to move forward, you need to, when you start thinking about making these changes in your future, feel what you're feeling in your body and just label it. Acknowledge it. I feel fear. I feel anxiety. I feel tired. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of things not working out. I don't want to end in poverty anymore. I'm tired of struggling. Whatever it is that you're feeling in those moments, that every time you're trying to take a step forward, acknowledge how that is making you feel. Because what you're doing is, when you're acknowledging it, you're giving it light. You're bringing truth to this experience, because in those experiences, the truth of the matter was, you did go through some scary experiences. Denying them and trying to be positive and optimistic over top of that without acknowledging it first is just you suppressing it back into the cellular memory. Everybody on this planet is going through an awakening, and we're all at different levels, and some people haven't quite awakened yet, but that's okay. They'll have their turn whenever it's time, because we can't have everybody awakening at the same time, because it would throw off the balance in the world, and we could end up having major cataclysms. You know, those things where we could have like world wars and another fall of Atlantis where the planet floods and, you know, we all die. So if we have everybody in fear, then that's the collective consciousness is going to be creating this into the physical reality. So we can't have everybody awakening at the same time. That's just a side note, so that people aren't getting upset with those that aren't awake yet, because there's a time for everybody to wake up. It's already predetermined. And so we just allow them to be where they're at. And the ones that are awakening, they're going through their releasing. And then the ones that have gone through this already, they're actually holding a balance of light and love consciousness. So the ones going through the fear can actually go through it, and it's not going to throw that balance off. You got the light, enough light and enough of the darkness going on at the same time that it kind of keeps it balanced, so that when we each go through our healing, we're not just having a mass collective fear where it just ends badly. So anyways, that's a side note. So Spirit is just saying, in order to heal, we need to be able to feel what we're feeling and acknowledge it, because not acknowledging it is suppressing it. And then all you need to do is remind yourself to keep the body open and relaxed, because when your body's open and relaxed, you're allowing that energy circuitry to flow through your body. And even though you're feeling fear, you're not in alignment so much with fear, because you're actually keeping the balance of the fear energy with the trusting and the light and the wisdom and knowledge that you have, that you're just releasing something. You're just allowing it to be accessed in your cellular memory body. So this will keep that part of you out of fear, which will balance the part of you that's going through the fear. So you see how that's a personal experience. Then in the collective, you have some that are holding the light for us so that we can go through our fear stuff. But then within your own body, your own personal experience is you witnessing your body in fear, but keeping a cool head, reminding your body to relax and be open, so that the higher frequencies of your energy field and your higher self and your guides and your angels and your helpers, your spiritual helpers, can get that energy into those parts of you, access them, and transmute them. So it's basically just being able to feel what's going on, and you don't have to go too far deep into it, but you just want to remind the body to relax, feel it, acknowledging it, because when you're acknowledging it, you're just giving light to it, knowing that, yes, this was rooted in the past. It's not happening right now. It's just triggered right now because of experiences that I've had over and over and over again that just kept compiling those fears. So now we're relaxing, releasing, letting your higher divine self take care of those things. And so then it is a waiting game, because these things don't just happen quickly. Not all the time. Some things that are ready to go really quickly, and you're able to really just allow yourself to trust that this is happening for you, that's going to go quicker for some. But some that have been through it, worst of it, they have a little less trust, because they've been through too much. So this takes them a little bit more to learn to trust. So the biggest thing is to relax, to breathe, to acknowledge what you're feeling and not deny it, because denying it is suppressing it back into the cellular memory. Do meditation, take nice hot baths or cool showers because it's so hot out right now. Do something that relaxes you. Use that nice music, candles, create an environment where you could sit and relax while you're feeling these things go through you. And then each time you do this, you get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then at the end of the day, Spirit is saying you will have your fulfillment of wishes. So don't worry too much about making decisions if you're too much in the midst of grand fear, because Spirit knows that this is a process for us and you're not going to miss out on opportunities. If you're truly not ready, you're not ready, and that's okay. These opportunities will keep cycling around again and again and again until you're ready to take that leap of faith. But in the meantime, feel your fears that are coming up and allow yourself to be opened and relaxed. Breathe deeply. Remind yourself of the truth. Okay, this is rooted in the past. I'm feeling it now like it's happening, but I know where it's coming from. So I'm asking higher self, can you please heal this for me? Take care of this for me, and just remain open and relaxed so that they can access that cellular memory. Now, for anybody that's having a hard time doing this by themselves, I offer energy sessions. I can do Holy Fire Reiki. I do shamanism. I do quite a few things, even though I use specific terms, just so that people can understand, have a bit of an understanding of what I'm doing. It really doesn't matter what label you give it, because energy work is just energy work. So I help people to go through these healings in a safe space, and it's being done right then and there on the table, so that you don't have to necessarily be doing it on your own. Now, the idea is we can do these things on our own, but for those that actually want or need the help in doing that, because they've been through some pretty scary experiences, I'm available for private sessions. And I can do them online, on live chat, or we can do them in person. And I'll leave my information on the bottom of the comment section of my video here, so you can contact me if you have any questions or you'd like to book sessions. Let's see, I'm going to see what else I have written down. I'm just going to read what I wrote here because it's going to trigger resonance. So you'll know if this reading really ties into you. It'll help give you something to connect with. So, feeling of unsafe, anxiety, shaking, scared, tired, exhausted, hard time functioning, and debilitating. Now remember, these are rooted in your childhood, so then you can also look at why you're feeling this now and see where you can place it in your childhood. Now, sometimes we don't have memory of traumas because it was so traumatic, we've suppressed it deep into the subconscious. And again, that's why private sessions are actually helpful, because if you can't see what you're dealing with or have any memory of it, then you can't really deal with it or handle it, appropriately heal it. So that's why sessions are good, to give you that extra information that you're missing. Fear, interfering with making life-changing decisions and taking actions for this change. Fears of making the same wrong choices and ending up in worse situations. So this fear is so strong that it's got you in a state of no movement. And then this, again, is rooted in your past, decisions that you've made that you still ended up in horrible experiences. And now you have a fear of making any choices because you fear going through the same thing again. So we just have to acknowledge these emotions and feelings so that we can release them. Spirit also brought up some of you are feeling deep hurt and sadness, not feeling supported, too scared to make choices in case you get it wrong, got it wrong so many times before, painful experiences. And then Spirit also wants to remind you that even though you think that you made wrong choices, some of these choices, even though that they were painful, you still had to go through these experiences because they are the ones that are helping to strengthen you. So Spirit is telling us this part because we're losing confidence in ourselves because we keep thinking we're making wrong choices because the experience was bad. But we got to look at it also this way, that some experiences we go through that were uncomfortable aren't necessarily the wrong ones. We didn't make the wrong choice. We just decided that they were because they felt bad. But some experiences that feel bad strengthen us, so it was still the right choice. All right, let's see here. Yeah, it's back to the lost self-confidence due to so many experiences that ended up us being in fearful experiences. Just what I just said. Let's see here. There's also experiences of lack of feeling loved and supported and loved and nourished. And that's from experiences in your childhood where you were not receiving the love and nourishment and nurturing that you needed and deserved as a child, and it's still showing up in your adult life because now you're still holding on to the hurt emotional attachments to those experiences. So it just keeps recreating the same experiences over and over again until you are eventually able to heal these things within yourself. Struggling to have your earthly needs met, not feeling supported by the divine or others in your life, and then impatience on healing and things changing. And then Spirit was bringing up the throat chakra. So some of you have some unexpressed fear, and admitting to yourself that you have fears about doing these things, because just pretending you don't have these fears, that's going to stop your healing as well, because you're denying that aspect of yourself and it being able to express that to you. Now the body speaks to us in body sensations, emotions, and feelings, and that's the way the feminine speaks. And then the higher mind speaks through signs and symbols and messages, whether in music or people talking or in meditation or symbolic messages in movies or what have you. So we need to learn to be able to listen to both our body speaking to us, the feminine, and then the masculine mind, which is the higher mind. Let's see here. Yeah, so trying to stay strong and optimistic without admitting that you are actually scared, is, like I said, is going to block that healing. So let me just reiterate, just so that we have a closing here. You're going through situations where you're healing, and this healing is going to bring about your sacred union. This is what we're here to do. This is what Ascension is. It's the reunion of our higher mind, masculine, and our divine feminine body. That's the goal. That's what Ascension is. That's why we need to heal things, because all these unhealed, fragmented parts of us keep the feminine body down in lower vibrational consciousness, and she needs to raise up so that she can get back up into the Christed consciousness to match up with her sacred masculine. Now, doesn't matter what your gender is. We all have a feminine quality, which is the body. It doesn't matter if it's a man's body, it's still the feminine. The feminine is always the body, the physical. The higher mind is the masculine mind, and it's in the higher dimensions of consciousness. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female, like I said. So this is what we're doing. We're reunioning with our masculine feminine. But in this case, with our healing, the topic is fear of victory and success. So we're in fear, having a hard time making choices and decisions. We lost our higher awareness and our ability to have that, that for sure knowing that we're on the right track, but it's because we're still trapped in fear. We've suffered so much that we just are afraid to take any more steps. We're fear of more conflict and defeat, so we don't even start and try, fearing that we're not going to succeed or triumph this. Again, disruption, fear, trapped in it, tight and tense, not allowing the body to expand and open for this energy to be accessed. We need to release these negative, fearful attachments to the past experiences, whether it be fear, anxiety, worry, hurt, sadness, anger, depression, irritation, frustration, whatever it is for you. Just acknowledging these energies allows you to be open to releasing them. Then it's the waiting game on how long this is going to take, because it's different for everybody else. And once you get used to doing this, the light will come in, which is truth, higher understanding and awareness will finally come back in, because then you've raised that part of you to a higher consciousness where it's like you have that aha moment. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have more cycles of it, because there's parts of us that are ready to heal, and then there's parts that still need more time. So you just keep going through this cycle until you feel at your strongest, until you point where you don't have to do it anymore. But that's why it takes so long for us to do this, because some parts are just stubborn. They're not ready to heal, or they're just too scared, or they're not trusting. So the more you work with yourself and love yourself, the more your body starts to relax and starts to strengthen. And at the end of the day, you'll have fulfillment of wishes. And in this case, it has to do with your sacred union, your divine feminine and masculine reuniting again. Because we came here to have an experience of separation. We came here to have an experience of what it was like, what's it like to be not in our whole divine state as prime creator consciousness. So we came here to have experience of separation, so our feminine and masculine separated. So then the pendulum swings. We're either in our masculine or our feminine, our masculine or our feminine, but it also goes this way. So we're healing all these little soul fragments, and they can be masculine or they can be feminine. That's what you call the inner children. So as we gather these fearful inner children that fragmented off through trauma, the last ones that we have allows the feminine divine consciousness to raise up, because she's only hanging back because she's still waiting to gather up all her children, all her little soul fragments, so that she can be reunited back with the sacred masculine. So we need to help this divine feminine. We're the middleman. We're in the middle. We can sense the lower stuff. We can sense the higher stuff. So we help our body. We help our little fragments to raise up, so that finally the feminine can also raise up, because she's waiting on the last of the fragments so that she can raise up as well. And if you want to get even bigger on this, you can look at the earth. The divine Mother Earth, the center of the earth, is the divine feminine consciousness. It's a body. She's the feminine. Then higher consciousness is the higher self, the higher masculine of the earth. So it'd be like the Christed consciousness. So we need to do our little parts with our own healing, and then as a collective changes. So everything that we heal individually changes the frequency of the collective. And this is how we prevent the fall of Atlantis. This is how we prevent cataclysm events from happening. This is how we change our governments, because everything's just a mere reflection of the consciousness. So as a collective, we all, many of us have fears of horrific experiences of those in power in their childhood who abused their power and took advantage of us and hurt us and stole from us, and etc., etc. So then our governments are just a mere reflection of our traumas in our childhood. Those in power abusing us. Same. So when you start recognizing the symbology within your own little world, you can start to see it on the grander scale. But this is why it's so important for us to do our own inner work, because then we change the collective experience so that we don't have to end up with a devastating ending of the world kind of situation. And it's not meant to cause fear. It just means how serious it is that we need to start taking our healing serious, because it's not just about us. It's about a whole worldly thing. And so, yeah, I guess that would be everything. This will be the end of your reading, everyone. I hope you got something out of this. Again, for anybody that's looking for private sessions to really get into some of the things that you're not remembering, that maybe you have trauma that you're not remembering, or you just want someone to help guide you through your healing, because some of this is quite scary. I understand that. I've been through my own stuff. I still go through some of my own stuff. But we're here to help each other, so I'll leave my information at the bottom. If you haven't already subscribed, I would appreciate the subscription, and likes and shares if you like, because it'll help build up my channel so that we can get this information out to more people to help them on their path as well. Again, helping within ourselves and helping the collective, because we really just want to live a peaceful existence. Everybody wants the same thing, but we're all so twisted and tied up in our pain and suffering that it's just a big shit show out there right now. All right, everyone, you take care. I just want to say thank you for watching my channel and supporting my channel, and we'll see you in the next one.